Deleted Peppa Pig episode. One word. It was an ordinary day. She was sitting in the playroom playing with a ball. Suddenly, it started rolling slowly across the floor by itself. She looked at it in surprise. The ball stopped near the wall and suddenly a strange rustling sound was heard, like someone whispering behind her back. Peppa turned around. Nobody was there. Suddenly, the toys began to move on their own. Dolls swayed without wind. Cars rolled across the floor without her involvement. Peppa was frightened and looked into the mirror. Her reflection was terrifying. Her eyes darkened and her smile widened more than usual. Suddenly, the toys disappeared. The room grew darker. A shadow appeared in the mirror, rapidly approaching Peppa. She tried to turn away, but the mirror seemed to suck her inside. She didn't notice how she fell into it head first. Peppa found herself in a strange, dark cave. A piercing scream shattered the silence. Turning around, she saw many small, poor piglets who had been trapped there for several years. She realized that escaping on her own and rescuing these little ones was her mission. Illuminating the walls with a flashlight, she saw mysterious symbols resembling a cipher. She struggled for a long time to figure out how to rearrange the elements to form a word. Suddenly, it came to her. She quickly drew the symbols in the correct order and obtained the word love. Suddenly, the walls trembled, stones rained down, and the cave collapsed with a loud crash. The piglets were set free. They found themselves on a bright meadow bathed in sunlight. The little pigs thanked Peppa, and she rejoiced at her new friends. They were celebrating when they didn't notice someone watching them from behind a tree. It all started as usual. Peppa and George were playing with Eevee, Peppa's younger sister.
Eevee, George, let's build the tallest tower,
suggested Peppa. Suddenly, Eevee started complaining about stomach pain.
Don't worry, I'll help,
replied Mommy. Peppa and George looked at their sister with concern. Daddy Pig went to the kitchen for medicine. As he was about to return, suddenly the lights in the room went out.
Strange,
said Daddy Pig. Suddenly, a huge black hand appeared from the darkness and grabbed him. When Daddy Pig didn't come back, Mommy Pig called Dr. Rabbit. She began examining her, but suddenly black, thin tentacles appeared from Eevee's mouth.
Help!
Screamed Dr. Rabbit as Eevee grabbed her and dragged her out of the nursery. Peppa and George watched in horror, unable to do anything. Meanwhile, Mommy Pig went down to the hall and stumbled upon a cocoon made of tentacles, in which Daddy Pig was barely visible. Suddenly, everything went dark again, and a second cocoon appeared nearby, this time with Mommy Pig inside. Now only Peppa and George remained in the nursery. No one could help them. They heard Eevee's whisper approaching the door.
Eevee?
Asked a frightened Peppa, looking toward the door. She appeared with a grim smile and completely black eyes, saying,
Now you are my toys.
It all started like any other day. Daddy Pig was fixing a floorboard. Peppa, George, and Eevee watched. Eevee stared into the gap, silent, unmoving, eyes too wide.
Don't go down there.
Daddy Pig said.
Just dust and spiders.
That night, Peppa woke up. Strange lights flickered under her door. She heard soft rustling. At the end of the hall, she saw Eevee.
Peppa, we're waiting.
In the living room, the rug was gone. In its place, a gaping hole. She stepped closer. Creak, crack. A hand grabbed her. She was pulled under the floor, into darkness, cold, whispering, laughter. Then a warped version of Eevee's song. Peppa trembled. Eevee stood before her, but twisted, taller, eyes hollow.
You came to play,
she whispered. Peppa backed away, touched something. She turned and saw Daddy Pig. His eyes were glowing. She ran. Hands reached out, faces flickered, ahead was a light. It was the silhouette of Mummy Pig. She climbed toward the light, and suddenly a white flash. She gasped in bed. In her room, she looked around, panting. Everything looked normal. She exhaled, nervously smiled, but then she looked up. Eevee was on the ceiling, smiling. A normal day, Peppa and George are playing with dolls. One of them was strange. Its head was slightly tilted to the side. Peppa carefully turned the broken doll. A thin crack appeared on the face of the porcelain doll. Sometimes a small crack is just a premonition of something terrible. The light in the room flickered for a second. At that moment, Eevee in the crib flinched and fell silent. She was no longer breathing evenly. Black liquid was dripping from the crack in the doll. Peppa ran to the crib, but it was empty. The outlines of tiny fingers had disappeared, replaced by cold fingerprints. A trail of black liquid stretched from the crib to the dollhouse. Horrified, Peppa took George's hand and led him there. In the central room sat the puppeteer, a figure with a porcelain face, but with cracks running all over its body. In its hands was Eevee, like a doll, her eyes closed, unmoving. The puppeteer lifted its head and slowly opened its eyes. They glowed red. It stroked Eevee's cheek and said,
"My new doll."
Peppa and George froze as if held by an invisible force. The dollhouse continues to play, even if the players are silent. Doll Eevee spoke in a creepy voice.
You are next.
Eevee was drawing. Peppa was sitting nearby. "You're drawing very beautifully," said Peppa. "I tried to be just like you," replied Eevee. The picture featured Peppa, but her smile was not her own. The next morning, Peppa woke up. George was looking in the mirror. "What's wrong with you?" asked Peppa. "There's someone else there," George answered emptily. In the evening, Peppa looked into the mirror, but behind her, someone else was standing. It was Eevee, but she was taller and scarier. That night, Peppa woke up from a strange rustling in the room. George was no longer there. She quietly approached the mirror and saw a figure emerging from its depths. Distorted, it was Eevee. Her legs, arms, and neck were very long. "Did you think you could stop me?" she hissed. Peppa tried to run, but suddenly several hands stretched out from the mirror and grabbed her. At that moment, her parents woke up. They heard the noise and rushed into the nursery. When they entered, they saw hands almost completely pulling Peppa into the mirror. Suddenly, she found herself inside a mirror world where only darkness reigned. Mama Pig and Papa Pig tried to help, but Eevee caught them too. Moments later, the parents were lying on the floor, very pale and thin.
"Welcome to my world. Now you are just reflections. I will replace you all."